Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll see how several women in their 40s are now advising younger ones not to date older men, even though they did it themselves and had their fun back in the day. A classic case of do as I say, not as I did, but only because they can't play the same game anymore. Let's expose the hypocrisy. We want you to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're aiming for 150,000 subscribers before May, and with your help, we'll make it happen. Don't forget to leave your comments and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single video. Now, let's get started.
Girl, if you are of age and you're not dating a man in his 30s, literally, what are you doing? I promise, on my whole life, I will never waste my time with a man who's my age ever again. Since dating 30-year-olds, this is what I've experienced. Number one, I don't gotta pay for shit. When I hang out with my man, do you want to know what I have to bring? I have to bring my ID and my lip gloss. Number two, babes, you think I've ever had to ask this man to buy me flowers? Honey, this man brings me flowers, no question. If I asked a 23-year-old to do that, you think a 23-year-old man would do that? Number three, the dates these men know how to plan. Girl, I just rode a horse on the beach just because. I have never touched a car door or a door in my life. And before you say, oh my god, he's probably talking to so many girls, and what, the 23-year-old wasn't? I'm not saying to let yourself cry over a man, but if you are gonna do it, might as well do it with one who's treating you like a princess in the meantime.
Hey, bro. What? Oh my God!
This clearly shows how a woman's mindset shifts depending on her stage in life. When she's young, she wants to date men in their 30s or older because they're at their financial and emotional peak. But if she reaches 30, after several men have had their fun with her, and she still hasn't gotten the ring, her message changes to, young women, don't waste your time with older men, because she no longer wants to keep missing out on opportunities. And if she makes it to 35 or beyond, when she's already hit the wall, the message turns into pure resentment. Men never mature. They just want younger women. Ironic, isn't it? First, they chase men in their prime, but when the tables turn, they suddenly want to change the rules of the game.
This is for my girlies that like to date older men. Listen up. Hey everyone, it's your favorite housewife, Izzy. So you like to date older men, mainly because they're established. Don't tell me that you like them for any other reasons, my love, because let me tell you something. A 27-year-old without clothes on does not look like a 57-year-old without clothes on, and you are not going to pick the 57 or 67-year-old without clothes on, giving me option. But whatever, we all did it. I did it for food for the better half of my 20s. I just want you to think about some things. It's great to date, and it's a lot of fun. But I need you to realize that you're in your 20s now, and he's in his 40s, maybe 50s. But when you're in your 40s, he's going to be in his 60s, maybe 70s. Some factors I need you to think about. Does he have kids? Are you going to be splitting the lot with the kids? How much does that leave you? Does he want more kids? Are your kids going to have to split the lot with his kids? Is there enough in that lot for the lifestyle you're living now and your future kids and his kids to live? Because he's going before you and you're going to still be young and have a lot of life to live. When you are 50, he is going to be 70 and you are essentially going to be slightly his nurse. When I look at some of my exes that were 20 years older than me now, I'm like, oh, they're such old men and I am a young woman. Now, I am not telling you not to date them and have a great time on their tab and make sure that they are investing in your future. What I am saying is there really a reason to marry them if there's not a G5 and a giant yacht that's going to be left in your name? Toxic, my friends.
I don't judge a man who never got married. Considering today's divorce rates, it almost seems like a smart decision. Now, I'm not saying a man should be alone his entire life, but plenty of women like this missed the train because they were always chasing the winner, waiting at the finish line. Now she's over 40 and lonelier than the sun at noon on a cloudless day. She mocks single men in their 50s, but who really has the problem? A man at that age with money and stability still has options. A woman at that age, on the other hand, is no longer a priority for any high-value man. And the best part? She still doesn't realize why she ended up where she is.
I genuinely wish I did not have these many stories to tell, but here's another one. I go on a date with this guy who's like 19 years older than me, but he like really pursued me and he was really nice and really sweet. And so I was like, you know what? Let's just give it a shot. So we go out to dinner and he tells me about his divorce. He has 2 kids, so this was not a surprise. And tells me that his ex-wife had cheated on him with, drumroll please, her cousin. And then after they got divorced, married the cousin, who I guess was like a cousin through marriage and not blood related, but they had grown up together. And she had gotten away with the cheating for so long because she'd be like, I'm just hanging out with my cousin. What are you so worried about? Anyway, we're talking about it. And he's like, yeah, I kind of have some trust issues that I'm working through from that, obviously. But like, I've done a lot of work. I was like, okay, that's wild. Hope you can get past that. I don't really know what to say about that. We order food. He starts ordering us wine, and the date's actually going really well. But he like keeps ordering wine and cocktails, and like he's drinking pretty heavy on the date. And it's important to note that at this restaurant, the servers didn't wear like a uniform. It was kind of one of those hip restaurants where they just had to wear like a black t-shirt, and that was it. Like there was no distinguishing thing between the servers and the patrons other than black t-shirt, and they all kind of looked a little hipster. We're at the restaurant for so long that our server clocks out and another server clocks in. And this server comes up and introduces himself while my date is in the bathroom. He's just like, hey, your server went home. I'm taking over for her. Like, my name is Matt or whatever. If you need anything, flag me down. I'm like, great, cool. My date comes back to the table and he's like, hey, I have some friends that are in the restaurant. Do you mind if they come over to the table and like have a drink with us? And I was like, yeah, that's totally fine. So his friends come over. We're in this little booth and Matt, the server, sees there are new people and comes up to the table. But when he comes up to the table, the three of them are kind of engaged in a discussion. So he comes right up to me. He's just like, hey, I don't want to interrupt, but like, you guys need anything? Do you want to get another bottle of wine? Does anyone need a cocktail? Do you want to see a dessert menu? Literally, this man is just doing his job. My date clocks this from across the table and then all of a sudden won't speak to me. Like I literally said his name and he just looked at me and then put his arm around the girl sitting next to him. And she looks at him and goes, what are you doing? And he goes, I thought I was on a date with this whore. But if she's going to be talking to random dudes right in front of me, there's no chance I'm fucking her. And for a minute, I was just in shock. And I was like, that's our server. Mind you, this man is hammered. And he goes, oh, so you're a liar too. Our server's a woman. And then after about 30 seconds, I went, actually, that's my cousin, and got up and left. Anyway, if this encourages at least one woman to leave after the first red flag and not just stay because it's polite, I will be happy. Know your worth and be safe out there.
This won't be popular, but a masculine man is not emotional. On a first date, you don't need to spill your entire life story. The date is about making sure the girl has a good time. Always keep some mystery. Here, this man made two mistakes. First, he overreacted without even fully understanding the situation. A masculine man is pragmatic. Second, he drank too much, and alcohol on a first date is always a bad sign. That's why you should always go for a coffee date, no drinks. Now, this woman's story proves two things. First, if she was truly bothered by the waiter switch, she could have spoken up from the start. Second, never reveal your weaknesses to a woman, because look at how, in the end, she used his own story against him, hurting him even more. If you're inviting a girl out, I assume you want the date to go well. So, avoid these mistakes.
It's Dimitri calling again, the guy from the street. I left you a message several days ago. I don't like leaving second messages, but I like you. You're a very elegant woman. You're very attractive, but I don't play that game. So here's how it's going to work. If I do not receive a phone call back from you by 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon, I'm no longer interested. I'm very intelligent. I'm great in bed. I make great money. Believe it or not, I'm a complete catch. Matter of fact, I'm one of the few men in the city that has nothing wrong with him. Now, I understand if you've got other issues. I don't know, maybe you were abused in childhood. Maybe you're just a person who's extremely frightened or has an anxiety disorder. Maybe you're on some medication for that. I don't know. There could be another issue. If you're psychologically normal and you haven't called me because there's been some horrible thing that's happened in your life which prevented you, that's fine. Otherwise...
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
For reasons like this, I recommend men learn sales or read books on how to sell. This guy wants to prove he's high value, but what he's really doing is coming off as needy. And if there's one thing women hate, it's a needy man. Instead of calling her to talk about how amazing he is, he could have said something like, "Hey, I think you might have missed my message, but I found a great spot that serves an excellent seafood pasta. Want to join me on Thursday at 3? That would have sparked interest. This not only sounds more casual, but it also sells her an experience without looking desperate. A high-value man doesn't go around announcing that he's high value. especially not to a 40-year-old woman. If she doesn't respond, he simply moves on to the next. A man with real options doesn't beg, and with his approach, this guy made it obvious that he has none.
So if you meet someone in their late 40s, never been married, and no kids, run. I cannot imagine dating someone in their late 40s that's never been married and no kids. Like, what the fuck is wrong with them? No one wanted to wife them up, or no one wanted to marry that guy? Or was he a little playboy? He didn't want to ever commit to anyone. He likely has never had to sacrifice or put anyone's needs in front of his. Who knows? Maybe it was the whole, his career came first. He had to move so many times. There's always so many fun excuses. But never would I ever, if I was a guy, I would think this as well. Want to be in a relationship with someone that's in their late 40s, or heaven forbid, older, that's never been married and no kids. I'll leave those to everyone else.
It's funny because it's true.
See how the narrative changes with age? Here we have a woman telling others, "Don't enjoy what I enjoyed." When she was in her 20s, dating older men for money and free dinners was fun. But now that she's aged, she suddenly realizes those men are too old, and maybe it wasn't such a great idea after all. That's why, by the time they hit 30, many have a high body count, because, as they say themselves, they were just enjoying life. But when men point out that they come with too much baggage and are no longer considered serious relationship material, that's when the tears and complaints start. The real issue isn't the message. It's the fact that now that her options have run out, she wants to change the rules of the game. Because once she hits the wall, and as we all know, the wall doesn't forgive. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, here are some questions for you. Where do you think these men went wrong? What would you have done differently? What are your thoughts on these 40-year-old women? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.